CQ, CQ the Old Friends Net. CQ the Old Friends Net. This is WA4LLR. Dave in Burnsville, North Carolina, calling CQ the Old Friends Net. This net meets on this frequency 3 times weekly. Tuesdays and Thursdays at 8 a.m., Sunday evenings at 5 p.m. The net's conducted in the amplitude modulation mode, carried out in the roundtable format. Any station that can generate an AM signal is welcome to participate. The net caters to vintage gear, but anyone with AM is certainly welcome to be a part. I'll take a list of check-ins, and then we'll proceed. So, stations wishing to be a part of the Old Friends Net today, give me a call and come now.
N4LQ.
KG4IUQ.
K4GDS. WB4NKL.
W4MEC.
N4LQ, KG4IUQ, K4GDN, WB4NKL, and W4MEC. Do we have any others? Okay, one more time down the list. N4LQ, KG4IUQ, K4GDN, WB4NKL, W4MEC. Anyone else? All right, I guess folks are sleeping in on a rainy morning. Anyway, this is WA4LLR, Dave in Burnsville, and good morning to each of you. Hope you're doing well today. We've got about 63 degrees up here and rain at the present time. Had about 0.3 of an inch thus far. Running the Viking 500 and the 183D. So, Steve, have you got rain down in Shelby? N4LQ, WA4LLR.
Yeah, WA4LLR, N4LQ. No rain. We had a sprinkle last night, but it looks like they're saying 9 a.m., so about an hour from now, we're supposed to get 0.11 inches, which isn't much, although it says thunder, rain and thunder. No lightning, I guess. Anyway, it's 69 degrees and very gloomy and overcast. And I'm running the 32V3 and the 75A4 this morning, and looking forward to hearing everybody's report. So over to you, Mark. KG4IUQ, N4LQ.
Thank you very much, Steve. This is Mark, KG4IUQ. I don't think it's been raining here. I went out and changed my antenna over to 80 meters, and it looks kind of damp on the ground. And right now I'm using the multi-LMAC AF68. I will turn it over now to George, K4GDN. This is KG4IUQ.
KG4IUQ in the group, K4GDN. Well, the band seems to be in good shape this morning, but the sideband QRM down here is terrible right now. Almost overriding any of the sections with the exception of Steve right now. We're running the range to about 20 watts top TV on the HQ145X, and it's kind of overcast. I don't think we're getting the rain today, but it's gotten hot again. It was in the low 90s and upper 80s yesterday. So with that, we'll pass it on to Chris, WB4NKL introduced, K4GDN.
Yeah, K4GDN, that's WB4NKL. Got 66 degrees here and had a 1/4 inch of rain overnight. And looks like they're saying afternoon rain coming in. George, you got a great signal. Band is quiet today, and you're coming in real well by the S9, and I've got zero noise otherwise. And the sideband stuff, I've got the reject tuning on the 75 S3B. I was able to reject it pretty good, so everybody's coming in great. I'll send it on around the short group, but it's good, like I say, good signals. Go ahead, Charlie. W4MEC, WB4NKL.
Okay, Cliff, WB4NKL and the group W4MEC. All right, fellas, good copy this morning. And the quiet band. I've got my average temperature here between my my thermometers is 61 degrees, and we have overcast skies. We got just shy of 1 inch of rain last night. We had a couple good downpours, no thunder, but good rains. And driving my wife downtown today, and everybody was wet, so it wasn't no scattered shower like we had the other day, where it was just a little strip down the road there. But anyway, well, Hendersonville had some excitement yesterday. Boy, I tell you, we were coming back down Asheville Highway, and a darn fire truck came by us like a bat out of you-know-where, and said, wonder where he's going, and we really didn't know. And then an ambulance went by, and then a fire chief's car went by, and they were hauling butt went down Church Street and out of sight. And come to find out, there was a house fire. Not just one, but two, and not but two, but 2.5. And a woman was in her backyard trying to burn up a mattress because she didn't want to pay the fee to have it picked up by the garbage company. And you can't take a mattress to the dump. They won't take a mattress. There's some, I don't know how you get rid of them, but there's some way you got to pay them to pick them up, and they dispose of them. And she was trying to burn a mattress, and mattresses are treated with what? Anti-flame chemical. So she thought she'd help it along with some gasoline, and she ended up burning 2 houses to the ground and a half of another one. So nobody was hurt and no pets were killed, but I tell you what, she's probably not a happy camper this morning. So WA4LLR in the group, W4MEC.
Oh my, shades of the Chicago fire. Instead of Mrs. O'Leary's cow, we had the Sealy Posturepedic fire. Oh mercy. Do we have any other check-ins for the old friends? Come now.
Good morning, fellas.
KN4R.
Hello.
All right. That was quite a double, but I think we got everybody sorted out. N4AK and KN4R. Anyone else? Good morning, Glenn. Good morning, Brian. Glenn, go ahead and tell us something, and then send it over to Brian, and Brian send it back to me. N4AK, WA4LLR.
Okay. Got a frog in my throat, but we'll march on with it. 68 degrees over here at sunset. We got still raining a little bit. And I think the high was supposed to go to about 79. I'm copying everybody just fine. I'm on 100 watts this morning, and my twin lead is a little wet, so I got a little bit of SWR. I guess everybody else has the same problem. So a very nice group in here. Over to you, Brian. KN4R, N4AK.
Okay, Glenn, good morning to you. N4AK in the group. KN4R, Brian, Cheryl's Ford. We're at 71, and we did get rain last night. A really good blast of rain. I didn't look at the gauge this morning, but it was pretty significant. So anyway, and I'm sure we're going to get some more today, which is good. We're doing it. So I'm on the GRC9. Apologize for checking in late. I had the transmitter on the right frequency, but I was listening on 3885. And sitting there looking at my watch thinking, what day is this? What time is this? So that's just the way it is over here right now. So I've see, the latest acquisition is a really attractive-looking Chinese military HF tube receiver, which is about 2/3 the size of an R390. But it's a single conversion receiver, but it sure is pretty. And I just got it, so I haven't fired it up yet. It runs on 220, but I have the step-down transformer, so we'll see. WA4LLR in the group, KN4R.
All right, fine business, Brian. Any other check-ins? Come now. All right. Well, the GRC9 is got the meter just about pegged up here on this 183D. And good deal on the new acquisition, the Chinese receiver. Assuming that's military. And Glenn, the 100 watts has got you good strong 30 over up here anyway. A really nice band conditions this morning. George, I'm hearing the side band, but nothing to the degree you are. Everybody's covering it up with no issues whatsoever. Good deal on the inch of rain out in your part of the world, Charlie. And man, people can do some interesting things. And I'm sure sorry to hear that the lady burned down houses and oh, mercy. Ooh, I would not want to be in her shoes today. A quarter of an inch of rain at your place, Cliff, and it is raining pretty good over here right now. George, the Ranger 2 sounds good. 45 watts, doing a good job up here. And Mark, the AF68 always sounds great. There's nothing that compare watt for watt with the punch of the audio on an LMAC. It just blows my mind. Steve, your 32 V3 sounds good, and we're just hopefully get to hang around the shack today. We'll see what we have to do. Looks like it's going to be a pretty rainy day up here in this part of the country. Our space weather today should be pretty good for the upper bands. Sunspot count's 155. Solar flux index is 184 and the K is 2. So I may get to play around on the upper bands a little bit today. A few things from this day in history. On this day in 1978, there was a mid-air collision over San Diego between a Pacific Southwest Airlines jet and a Cessna. It took 144 lives. I know we're all happy to hear this. 1970, The Partridge Family premiered on ABC. In 1959, Eisenhower and Khrushchev met for talks. Here's an interesting one. 1928, on this day, Chicago's Galvin Manufacturing Corporation was the first company to begin mass-producing car radios. On this day in 1894, Grover Cleveland pardoned bigamist, adulterers, polygamists, and unlawful cohabitants. Okay. On this day in 1890, the Mormon Church officially renounced polygamy. On this day in 1789, the Bill of Rights passed Congress. On this day in 1493, Columbus left Spain on his second voyage to the New World, and instead of having 3 ships, he had 17. And that's enough from this day in history. So back to you, Steve. N4LQ, WA4LLR.
Okay, WA4LLR, N4LQ. I'm trying to figure out why you gave Mark a great audio report, and I only got a good audio report. I'm going to have to investigate this one. Just kidding. Yeah, the Galvin Manufacturing Company. That's interesting, and you never believe what they called the radio. They called it a Motorola. So that thing was $130. I was just looking at the price here in 1930, $130, and the car, the Model A Ford, cost $540. So the car was only about 3 times more than the radio. Very interesting. And that's very interesting about that mattress fire. Reminds me of the song called Beds Are Burning. That was popular a few years ago. But I don't quite understand it. I know one time when I was a kid, I was trying to start the trash on fire out behind the house, and I poured some gasoline on the fire and struck a match, and the flames came out like 20 feet around the trash pile and around my ankles, and of course they went out real quick, scared me to death. But I'm wondering how in the world she managed to burn down 2 houses, or was it 3? Anyhow, Brian, that's interesting about that Chinese radio. Hope you post a picture of it on the net so we can admire it. And you said it ran on 220, I think was what's required. So I guess you have to boost the voltage to run it, or I wonder how you're going to do that. I know you said something about a reducer or something, but anyway, maybe you can explain that one a little bit more. But let's see here. I think that's about it. I'll go ahead and turn it over to Mark with that great audio. It does sound very, very good. You got your highs back, and it's not making any strange noises or anything like it was last time. It was starting to kind of break up on the second round. So let's hope it doesn't do that again, but it sounds great right now. KG4IUQ, N4LQ.
Thank you very much, Steve. This is Mark, KG4IUQ. I don't really know what the issue was last time. It might have been no antenna connected. I just don't know. I'm kind of afraid to move the microphone around much. I'm getting a little bit of QRM. Everybody's sounding pretty good here. Dave's sounding very good. And George in Myrtle Beach sounding good. Cliff sounding good here. Charlie W4MEC, very good. Glenn N4AK in Sunset sounds good. And Brian, KN4R in Sherrills Ford, you're sounding good. I am sorry to hear about the accident woman had with the trying to dispose of a mattress. That is a sad thing. I didn't know, I was unaware that you cannot get rid of a mattress yourself. I assumed that would be a law that applies around where I live too. I know I wouldn't use gasoline, not a lot of gasoline. Definitely, if I would try anything, it might be kerosene, and it wouldn't be a whole lot of that if it didn't light it up, you know. And I believe the houses were probably close together. I've been working on a Night Kit T150. Been using this resistance chart that's given in the documentation that I have. Went and checked all the pins, the tubes, and I wrote down everything as a result of it, and there were quite a number of resistances that don't match up with what they specify in that chart. But the only problem with it is it appears that the chart doesn't match the schematic diagram in all cases. I'm going to have to find out. Maybe I'll ask Steve if I'm doing that correctly. I believe there's something strange about it. But things are going well here. Today I'll probably hang around, maybe play the guitar some, do some radioing, maybe work on that Night Kit. I'm going to turn it over now to George, K4GDN. This is KG4IUQ.
KG4IUQ, the group K4GDN. And the sideband is pretty beautiful report. Not that everybody pretty much knows. I think it was hitting mark pretty good then, but I was able to get it. And my selectivity changes on the 145 and the 7583 don't really do me much good. One of them must be close down here. I don't know. I can't get a 0 on them and with us on at the same time. Anyway, everybody sounds good. And I don't have to sign individual. And there's those interesting things about what was going on and when it was going on. It's interesting to hear that kind of information. And glad to hear that the radio crew is sound is getting out. This is the one that I mentioned before was perfect for Joe Ball. He was president at Spartanburg Tech. And I'm pretty sure that I'm the first person to ever actually put it on the air. And it probably still has, maybe all but one or two of the original tubes in it. They even have the original manual and the warranty card to go along with it. That's kind of interesting to have some of the old stuff around like that. So with that, I'm going to pass it on up to you. WB4NKL, K4GDN.
K4GDN, that's WB4NKL. Okay, George, excellent copy. Charlie, I wonder if that lady accomplished her goal. I wonder if she got the mattress burned up. I wonder, and I'm also wondering if there's any alcohol involved in there with the gasoline. It's a sort of a strange situation. Sounds like something happened around here. But I remember one time we had a death here where his buddy wanted his friend out of the house, and he tied a rope to the couch his friend was on and hooked it to his truck and pulled the couch out of the house, and in the process killed his buddy. But that was a alcohol involved situation too. Go ahead, Charlie. W4MEC, WB4NKL.
Yeah, WB4NKL and the group W4MEC. Well, maybe I get some more information today. They've got a very good Facebook page for Hendersonville. I don't use Facebook, but my wife does because she has a smartphone. And all the kids, that's how they keep in touch and send stuff back and forth. So. But they have a real good Hendersonville Facebook page, which is basically the newspaper of the town. Our fish wrap today is pretty crappy, and they don't even deliver it anymore. They mail it to you. So they drop it in the mail, you get it 4 days later. That's a really good paper, I guess. So anyway, maybe I'll find out today from the Facebook page. So yeah, up until yesterday, it's been pretty dry around here. It hadn't rained in quite a while, so maybe it caught the grass fire and it spread to the houses. And I would think, yeah, probably that was a Southern moment there. Hey, watch this. The famous last words of a Southerner. Hey, watch this. And that's what she was doing. So, well, I think you can take the mattress to the dump, but you can't take it to recycle, which is free around here. But you take it to the dump, and they charge you to dump it off at the dump. You just can't take it there and dispose of it. The recycle around here, they have a sign that tells you what the limit is, but nobody pays attention to it. And it's basically 1 for 1, and it's like a bag of garbage for a bag of recycle. But no one pays attention to it. I go there all the time with cardboard and stuff like that and just dump it. And but you can't take a mattress there, so you gotta go to the dump. And they got a special fee set aside. And the county or the state, the garbage companies don't pick them up, and neither does in the city limits does the city garbage pick them up. So. And I think the fee is pretty nominal, like 10 or 15 bucks, and it ain't much, but yeah, she's probably not a happy camper this morning. Interesting, you talked about the price of the the radio and the car and that. But Harley Davidson back in the day, the motorcycle was around $800 back in the 20s. And when the Model T came out, I guess it was in the teens. When the Model T came out, it was $400. So you could spend $800 and get something that got you wet in the rain, or spend $400 and had something that would keep you dry in the rain. So I don't think it was much of a debate there back then. The Mormons did away with polygamy. Well, I thought that was a big selling point for becoming a Mormon. So, so they got rid of that. So, but I think there's a few still holding on out there in Utah. You know, you read about them every once in a while. I think they made a TV show about them too, but apparently it's not well thought of anymore. Maybe it's a separate side of the Mormon Church, you know, kind of like the what is it, the Presbyterian USA and Presbyterian America or something like that. And they have some different views about how to look at stuff. And I got a question for Brian when he gets to it. Brian, I had this microphone. It's a ceramic mic. It was a Turner 350C. And it had a military connector on it, a small one, and kind of like a cannon plug, but instead of just having one guide pins, it had several around the outside, including one big one. And it had like maybe, I don't know, 6, 7 pins on it, and they were actually female pins, which is odd for a microphone connection. Anyway, I put a 1/4-inch phone plug on it, 3-conductor phone plug. But I've never seen a mic cable, a core mic cable that had 2 complete separate shielded audio cables in it, and it had the basic ground, shield, push-to-talk circuit, 2 separate wires, but it had 2 complete audio cables in it, with its own shielding. And I wondered if you might have run into that, and was that common for that kind of stuff, and what it might have gone to, or why they would have put 2 shielded cables in a hand mic like that. So anyway, let's see. Over to Glenn, N4AK, W4MEC.
Okay, this is N4AK. Brian, if you would, go ahead and take it. I'm going to wait till the next round. I've got a phone call I've got to make. KN4R, N4AK.
Okay, Glenn, I think you turn it over to me. Sidebanders are getting pretty close here, but very good on all. By the way, Cliff, your signal, you're really static eliminating today. It's really nice. It's shades of K4EDK, and Dave, you got a big signal as well. And Steve, I also burned my ankles really good because putting gas on a big pile of tree limbs one time on a sloping hill, and unfortunately I decided to light it from the downside, which was a real big mistake. But anyway, it's a hard way to learn a lesson, but at least didn't kill myself. And I sent a picture of that. It's a Chinese 222-1, and it's a tube receiver. And it feels, the controls are just wonderful. And you know, it's another piece of really weird Chinese equipment, because it's nice and shiny and pretty, and which would probably have no reason of being all that if it was actually used in a military situation. But it's got a really nice blue dial if you look it up on the internet. And I sent you. There's a restoration project out there. There's not a manual that's translated from Chinese, but I have the Chinese manual, so I might try to translate it. But anyway, I've been working on a presentation for the conference coming up in October up in Rochester, New York. Going up there and hanging out, so anyway, and I got to go cover up my boat so it doesn't get rained on again. And I'm very sorry. I assume it's common knowledge, but Gary K3OS mentioned that he will probably most likely be moving to California in the next 6 months or so, spring, I guess. And so if anybody's looking for a really nice house and boat on Lake Hickory, talk to Gary. So anyway, back up to you, Dave. WA4LLR in the group, KN4R.
Dave, I'm back.
All right, fine business. Glenn, go ahead and pick it up.
Okay, this will be the rest of the story. Those 2 fellas that were double dating were from Quincy, Illinois. One was William Lear, who went on to develop the Learjet. The other one was Elmer Wavering, and he went on to do, like Steve said, Motorola, but his business at the time was making battery eliminators for, battery radios with a big thing. So he realized that that radios were beginning to have their own rectifiers in them. So he needed to expand his business, and so that's why they pursued the radio. I have a longer story, but that's for another day. But Lear was a radio operator in the Navy. That was his relationship to radio. And like I said, Wavering, his relationship to radio was his company was making battery eliminators. So that's the rest of the story. WA4LLR is for AK.
All right, fine business, Glenn. Thank you for being Paul Harvey today. All right, any late check-ins for the old friends? Come now. I figured Mr. Chicken Liver and Gear Shifting might have woke up by now, but I guess John's sleeping in today. Glenn, you left out the most important part of the Lear story. Yes, he went on to do the Learjet, but the absolute important thing that William Lear came up with was the 8-track tape player, which became standard in every Ford car starting in 1966. And the reason I'm saying that's such an important invention is because back when my wife and I were dating, we had a Borg-Warner, sorry Mr. Lear, Borg-Warner 8-track tape player in my 63 Ford Falcon. And we did a lot of courting to Neil Diamond and other people. And back in the late 70s, when I used to play with a group, our first album that we put out, we put it out on LP, 8-track and cassette. So that kind of dates the story. Oh man, the 8-track was famous for changing in the midst of a song. Just totally broke your concentration. But I played a lot of 8-tracks in that thing. Anyhow, Gasoline and Fire. I'll never forget, I had a good friend that had cut a big brush pile, and it was 100 yards from the house or something, maybe a little more. So one hot summer day, he decides he's going to burn this thing. So I had the misfortune of being there with him, and he soaked the thing with gasoline and realized that he had left his matches at the house. Now picture this. This is a hot summer day. The thing is sitting there reeking of gasoline and the vapor's just boiling off of it. He walks back to the house, finds the matches, and comes back. At least he didn't walk up to it and light it. But he gets the bright idea that he puts a little gasoline on an old mop. And he stands back and he uses the mop like a javelin after he lights it and throws it. And before that mop got halfway to that brush pile, it ignited the fumes of that gasoline, and the concussion blew him about 40 feet backwards. That was the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. Didn't burn him, but man, that was one more. It was like somebody setting off a charge of TNT. Anyway, N4LQ, WA4LLR.
I cannot unsee that picture. This is N4LQ, the burning mop javelin. Okay, well, that's the craziest thing I ever heard of. You mentioned 8-track. Boy, those things were something else. They would get messed up, and I remember seeing like miles of 8-track tape along the side of the road where people threw them out after they got jammed up or came apart. I think the tape came out sometimes, but I would see that stuff strung everywhere alongside the road, and they weren't cheap either. They were just not very reliable, and I guess they just kept going back and forth until they got the whole album played. They did sound better than a cassette, for sure, because the tape ran faster than a cassette did. And I don't know, I read the other day where cassettes are making a comeback, and there's a company starting to manufacture them again and record music on them. And I think they only turn at like 1 7/8 inches per second. But the high-end audio is way down on them. But these new ones are supposed to sound as good as a CD or something, I have read. So with that, I'll turn it over to Mr. Mark, KG4IUQ. I hope you're enjoying your day off. N4LQ.
This is Mr. Mark, KG4IUQ. Interesting to hear about the cassette making a comeback. That accident with the gasoline, I'm sorry to hear about it. I heard of a man, I was talking to him in Welford, South Carolina. He was talking to me while I was doing some yard work, and he had been burned by holding, I guess he had the gasoline in his hands in a container or something like that, and he was burning a fire somewhere in his yard, and he described it with words like he didn't have to go up to the fire with the gas. It just lit up. He was some distance away from it. And to hear this thing about the gasoline fuel igniting and then blowing a person back, that's scary. That's the kind of accident where they're very unfortunate. I plan on going to the next meeting in Spartanburg, and I'm thinking right now that it's on the October the 2nd, Thursday. I'm not real sure about that, but I'm going because I'm going to be on vacation. And I have kind of said to Steve that I'm going to take a camera and tripod and take a picture of people there in a group picture, and then I'm supposed to figure out how to get the names. But I can put it on the photos. I used to do some work in a little bit of website design. I know I can accomplish getting the names on the photograph, but how I'm going to get all the names, we'll just see. It might take a while. Let me see here. I'm going to turn it over to George, K4GDN. This is KG4IUQ.
KG4IUQ in the group, K4GDN. And it seems like the sideband has abated a little bit. Anyway, I copied everybody pretty well that time around. Afraid I won't make the October meeting, but the plan is on for the November meeting. And trying to bring up a couple of receivers right now for that. I've got an NC300 and an HD110A I would like to sell. Trying to downsize a little bit before we make the move back to the upstate. And we're going to be talking with a real estate agent at that during that time we were up there in early November. Start looking for a place up there, and hopefully we'll be back up there. We'll make the meetings on a regular basis. Anyway, I think I'm going to say 73 on this one, but I'm going to listen to the end. And enjoyed it this morning. Thanks for calling me that there, Dave. And I'm probably going to be, I'll be in next Tuesday. Sunday's a little bit hard for me. But anyway, coming to you with WB4NKL in the group, K4GDN. 73, guys.
Okay, George, K4GDN, that's WB4NKL. 73 is still good copy, but signal's getting a little weaker, so I guess the band's starting to drop down some. I had a book here on the history of the automobile radio somewhere. I'll have to get that out and revisit it, but I remember reading some of that stuff in there about the development. But it's been a while, but I'll have to see if I can lay my hands on it again. I didn't know about Gary K3OS moving to California. I wonder if that's pretty drastic there to get rid of that interference he was having, I guess. I know he was having a time with trying to find his power line interference, but I hate we're losing him to California. Guess I'll say 73s and get out here and walk a little bit before the rain sets in again. It's supposed to rain again today sometime. 73s, enjoyed it. Thanks for calling it, Dave. Go ahead, Charlie. W4MEC, WB4NKL.
Hey, Cliff, WB4NKL and the group W4MEC. Real good, fellas, and I'll hang out here to the end as long as it doesn't go past 9 o'clock. I got to bug out of here and go get the wife. And I wonder if there are any more YWCAs around. You got the YMCA. I remember YWCAs, and they actually had them. It's unusual that Hendersonville has a YMCA because it was built when the town was much smaller. And there's one in Asheville and there's one in Marion. That's the only 3 YMCAs in western North Carolina. But Hendersonville has one. But just curious about how they ended up with that. But yeah, Lear, before World War II, more than half of the radios in airplanes were Lear radios. He was a prolific builder, and he was a high school dropout that went in the Navy as a radio operator, and then came out and invented quite a few things. One was a radio direction finder, and communications gear and stuff like that. And of course, the A-Track. I actually put an A-Track. My 1973 Dodge pickup came with an AM radio, a push-button AM radio, which I actually still have. It still works. And I swapped it out for an 8-track, AM/FM 8-track that I put in the dash for that thing. And yeah, you'd see those tapes along the road. I don't know what, you pull the tape out and pull the cartridge out, and the tape would stay in there. And, of course, you pull it out and the tape would come out of the cartridge, and when you finally got it out of the unit, you just threw the thing away. And there is a meme out that shows a cassette tape next to a pencil. And the meme says, if you know what this means, you are old. So I guess the cassette tapes are, and the pencil will make a comeback. And perhaps it's all digital audio on that slow 1 7/8" speed tape, and that's why the quality is better. So, and Gary to California. Well, that's kind of like using your soul and going to HE double toothpicks, to be honest with you, for most of us. But maybe he's got family out there. I got a son, daughter-in-law, and a grandson out there, and they already know. Well, if you come to my funeral, that'll be the next time you see me. I've been out there one time, and it's a basic twice. I've been out first and last time. We actually rode the train from Chicago to where he lived. It was a 3-day trip. The Southwest Southwest something or other, Amtrak. Beautiful trip, both ways, and that was the one visit we made out to see him. And go out there, spit in the Pacific Ocean, and come home. So, anyway, N4AK in the group, W4MEC.
Okay, Charlie. Yeah, those two fellas, Wavering and Lear, were very interesting. And also, Wavering invented the alternator in cars rather than the generator. You remember you had a generator in a car? discharge the battery only while you were running at a fast speed. And Lear, like you say, dropped out of school in 8th grade. And he designed the first fully automatic aircraft landing system. So every now and then the world comes up with a genius. I spent some time yesterday with the VA due to a little run-in with Agent Orange. I have a few problems and I was trying to do a claim, and I said, how long does it take from the act on this? They said, oh, probably about 4 to 6 months. I tell you what, when you're pretty close to 85 years old, the 4 to 6 months becomes a significant part of the rest of your life. So I complained about it, but it didn't help me. They said, actually, if you're actually 85, not just a few days younger, they'll put you on the front of the list. I thought, well, that's comforting. So anyway, I think Brian pulled out of here. I was not copying him very well. So Dave, thanks for doing the net for us. WA4LLR, M4AK.
Brian, did you leave?
No, sir, I'm here, and I copied Glenn a bit. It's kind of tough between us, but anyway, KN4R returning. All right. Well, hey, as far as 8 tracks, probably my second job was working at a company that sold nip and tuck, upholstery company, car upholstery, and convertible tops. But they sold some Arthur Fulmer gear, helmets, and things like that to motorcyclists, and they got in 8-track tape players when I was there, and oh my gosh, it was like drugs at the back door. People were coming up to the warehouse door all the time looking to buy not one, but like a case of 8-track players. And I had one in my car. And I had better luck with 8-tracks than cassettes in terms of eating tapes, but they both ate tapes. And of course, the great thing about 8-tracks is you didn't have to change it auto-changed between tracks, and you know, never stopped until you stopped. So that was a fun time. I loved to watch those little lights on the 8-track player. And yeah, don't say anything to Gary. I apologize. He's looking. His sister lives out there, and so they are moving to get close to family. And he sent me he told me the name of the senior facility he was looking at, and I went on the web, and it's a beautiful spot outside of Pasadena. It's nice hilly country, lots of trees and all that. So it'll be a pretty spot to be in. Charlie, I don't know about the 2 shielded cables, but it sounds like something the military would do. Nick England would be a much better, he'd be able to comment. I was looking at a couple of handsets here while after you were speaking, but I don't think I have an example here. So, and Mark, good luck on the T150, and great to hear that you're going to be at the next meeting. I think I'm going to be at the next meeting too. Well, maybe not. I need to check. So, anyway, back up to you, Dave, and I'll go ahead and say 73s. I think we're probably near the end of the net, but it's been nice. WA4LLR in the group, KN4R.
All right, fine business, Brian. Well, 73 to you, and to Cliff, and to George. I think those are the only ones that signed. Sorry to hear that Gary's moving. But, yeah, I know how it is with family. So, we will certainly miss him being on, but wish the best. Let's see here. Oh, Charlie, you were talking about the Southern saying, hey, watch this. I thought it was hold my beer. But anyway, yeah, we do a lot of interesting things for sure. That same guy that tried to blow himself up with the flaming mop, he had a little shop, and he had a wood stove in there, and he was trying to get it going one day. As another day, I had the unlucky possibility of being there with him. he's trying to get it going, and I don't know if the wood was damp or something. And he picked up a container of what he thought was kerosene and threw it in there, but it was paint thinner. And it blew the door off the stove, and he was an interesting fella. It was hard to get insurance if you were going to be around him very much. Mark, good luck on the T150. I've got one sitting over here that I really need to get on the air. The only problem is I can't throttle it down enough to use it with my SB220, and barefoot is just not quite enough for most occasions. So I'm trying to find an attenuator, maybe around a 4 or 5 dB, somewhere in there, to get it calmed down enough to run with the amp. But I enjoy using it. I've used it a couple of times with the SB220, but it just puts out absolutely too much power. Even running the 150 through, teed into a dummy load, I'm still putting out more than the legal limit, and I don't like to drive that amp that hard. Okay, let's see. We got Steve and Mark and Charlie and Glenn left, I do believe. So let's do a 73 round here. N4LQ, WA4LLR.
WA4LLR is N4LQ. Well, Dave, I wonder if you can't just pull out one of the 6146 tubes and run it that way, just load her up for maximum power. I got a feeling that might work, and that would give you about half the power. Be interesting to try that. As far as Gary goes, he told John and I on the way to Spartanburg a few weeks ago about his move, and he's actually moving to the Palisades and next to Los Angeles, where they had all the fires. And he said the facility that he is moving into was burnt to some degree, apparently. So yeah, that's where he's going, and we tried our best to denigrate him and talk him out of it and tell him he's crazy and everything else. But he said, yeah, I know, but gotta go. So I think it's the wife thing, and I hate to see it. I just can't imagine it. It's probably a pretty place, but also expensive. I'm sure it's outrageous trying to afford to live there. So let's see. The pencil in the cassette. I think the meaning of that is we used to use a pencil to turn the cassette. Sometimes the tape would not be tight enough, and you were always supposed to, have it tight when you put it in the machine, and you could try to use your finger or fingernail and turn the reel, but a pencil stuck in there real nice and fit pretty conveniently. So I think that's what they were talking about. Anyway, it's been a fun net. Thanks for checking in, and hope we can get some activity tonight on 160. 1864 is the frequency at 8 o'clock. So we'll say 73s and turn it over to Mark, KG4IUQ, N4LQ.
This is Mark, KG4IUQ. Everybody have a good day. It's been a pleasure to be on the net here. I'll talk to you later. I will turn it over now to Cliff, WB4NKL. This is KG4IUQ.
I think he's out walking. Go ahead and pick it up, Charlie.
Okay. KG4IUQ group, W4MEC, real good. Yeah, that's exactly what the meme was what's the right word here? Suggesting if you knew that the pencil was for rewinding the tape, then you were old. So One of the things that Motorola did there, Dave, when the gear that they made for the tube gear, mobile tube gear, they had a tune position for adjusting the PA, and all the tune position did was cut in resistance into the screen supply of the 6146, either single or double. They used both single tube and double 6146s. The single gave you 30 watts out, a double gave you 60 watts out. And they had a tune position, and they just dropped the screen voltage. So you might look into maybe adding a switch on the back apron or something, and a suitable wattage screen resistor to drop it down and get your power down that way. It might be worth a try. So, and let's see what else. That's about it. I had another thought, but I forgot what it was. I can remember the pencil and the tape and the cassette, but I can't remember my thought there. Anyway, we'll talk to you fellas. I'll try and make it tonight, Steve, if I'm here. That's been the big bugaboo, being here soon enough to get on the net. And I tell you what, Gary moving to California, I don't know what the deal is, but it sounds like he's going to facility, or he's going to be living near someone. That family that's in a facility, but I'd seriously consider moving them to where I was instead of moving to California, especially in this particular climate and this country, right now. That'd be one of the last places. So anyway, 730, and we'll see you maybe tonight for sure this Sunday. I think I'm tail end Charlie, so WA4LR or W4 Mrs. All right.
Is Glenn still there?
Yeah, I'm going to make a comment or two. I found, interestingly, don't forget, the 2E26 is the exact replacement for a 6146. And when I had a Ranger, I just put in a 2E26, and that's the problem. So maybe with your rig, you take out both 6146s and just stick in a 2E26. Why not try it? If you need a 2E26, I think I got a couple around here. Anyway, that might be fun to try. So thanks very much, Dave, for doing the net for us this morning. And it's still raining here in Sunset. WA4LLR and 4AK.
Okay, Glenn, fine business. That's a good idea. I've done that with a Ranger, replaced 6146 with 2E26. So I've got 3 good suggestions here. I'll see which one is the most feasible. And I hadn't thought about pulling out one of those, Steve. I didn't know if that would throw everything out of kilter or not. But we'll figure something out. Anyway, gentlemen, I've enjoyed it this morning. Other than a little sideband splatter, it's been really good conditions. So everybody have a great day. Stay dry, and Lord willing, we'll catch up with you on Sunday, I believe. So 73, God bless. This is WA4LLR, Dave in Burnsville, North Carolina, closing this session of the Old Friends. Have a good one.